Hi y'all, this is Regina. Welcome back. I had a request to do an orange peel edge to edge. So I've created rectangles and squares. Here's the, help if I turn this where you can see it. Oh shoot, squares. There we go. The squares. So some of these sizes, the 4 by 4s, the 6 by 6, and the 8 by 8s can be combined in another hoop size to make a longer, narrower design. So I'm going to open this 4 by 4 and show you what I mean. I'm going to open both of these files. So if you have software, you can combine these in your software, excuse me, by opening your software and pulling up the A file, which is red. All the red files, let me get back over here. All the red is your A file. The green is your B file. And the purple is the C file, and I'll explain that in just a second. So let's say you wanted to have a 4-inch wide, 8-inch long quilting design, edge to edge. So I'm going to copy this. I hold down my control button and press the C to copy, or you can right click and copy. Okay, and I'm using Palette 11, which is for Baby Lock. PE Design is the same software. It's for Brother. All right, so now I'm going to go back over to my A design, and I'm going to right click and say paste, and then I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to align it with the A file. Now I'm going to change the hoop size because I want it in one hoop. So 4 and 4 is 8, so the biggest one I want to take is an 8-inch hoop. I'm going to select, and I'm going to right click. Oh shoot, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There you go. Right click and center. All right, so now I have a 4-inch tall, 8-inch wide edge to edge. So if you need a narrower file, then this is how you would do it. Or you could bring it in on your machine and combine them. One thing you want to do though is to change this all to one color. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. So let me show you how this would stitch. I'm just going to drag this over. It's a little faster than putting it on automatic stitching. So this is how it stitches. Okay, so this right here is why you want to change the color, because if you don't, when it finishes stitching the red, it's going to stop and cut and want you to change thread colors. So if you select, oops, if you select both designs and change it to red, now it's not going to stop. It's just going to continue stitching all the way until it's done. All right, so here we go, and no stopping, it just continues because it is red now. All right, so that's how you would combine it, and you can do that with the 4 by 4, the 6 by 6, and the 8 by 8, because you can combine 2 of the 8-inch square designs into a 16-inch hoop. Now, of course, the size of the little flower that creates the orange peel design, this one, okay, I've got to ungroup it. Shoot. Ungroup. So this is the 4-inch. Now the size of this flower is 1.32 by 1.30, and I'm finding that down here in my left-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner down here, all the way down here. All right, so if you don't want something that is so compact, naturally, if you've got a hoop that you can use, you can go with a larger design. So I'm going to close this out. I'm not going to save it. All right. Now, If you have only have a 4x4 and you want a larger space, not so compact space, you can go to the C file. So the C file on the 4x4, this is still a 4x4 hoop, but the C file is right close to 2 inches down here on the bottom left, 1.94 by 1.95. So it's a little larger space, and that would kind of open up your quilting a little bit. So I'm not going to say it. So those files that have the purple are larger in size. So let's open this up. I'm just double clicking, and because it's notices my software, it just opens it up automatically. So I'm going to ungroup that so I can show you the size of this. So this is 4 inches by 4 inches, just shy. So, and the hoop size is 8 by 8. So you have 2 flowers across and 2 flowers down. All right, so that is the difference between the red and green and the purple. The flower size is larger, making a more open design. All right, and the same thing applies to the rectangles. So you have an A and a B because you can combine the 5x7 and the B 5x7 in a 9.5 by 14-inch hoop. The other files on these rectangles, you can't combine those in another hoop. All you can do is stitch them back to back. So I'm going to show you how this stitches. All right, whoops, let me get rid of my alignment lines here. All right, so it stitches across, all the way across, comes down, stitches here, and then comes down and stitches across here. Now, because you're just going to be bringing in this design again when you're at your machine, you don't really need a B file because you're just going to be aligning this edge of the flower to this edge of the flower with either a template that you've printed out or your camera on your machine. All right, so this flower, let's see here, I need to ungroup. Okay, so this is the 6x10, yeah, 6x10, and the flower on it is 2 inches by 2 inches approximately, okay, 1.91 by 2.07. But if I go over to the C file on the 6x10, which is the purple file, and this is 2.37 by 2.79. All right, so it gives you a much larger square. And you may be saying, well, why aren't you taking up the whole hoop? So the 6x10, I'm trying to keep it below 10 inches and below 6 inches so everyone can do it without having to resize. All right, so that is the difference between the rectangles and the squares. So now let me show you how to stitch it on the machine, how it stitches out on the machine. All right, so I'm at my machine and I've married the 4x4 orange peel designs, the A and the B file, and I'm using an 8x8 hoop, so it should accommodate. Now I'm going to just do a quick little round. Ooh, all right, I think maybe, I don't know whether turning it's going to do any good or not, so I'm probably going to have to change my fabric to be a little bit longer because turning it's not going to do any good. All right, so I quickly changed my fabric to be a little bit longer, and it'll give me enough room to have a little bit left over for a seam allowance. All right, so this is going to be the A and B section of the orange peel. They're married together. So let's get started. All right, so it's going to start on, I didn't change colors on the green because I'm just going to hit go whenever it finishes stitching the red. So I just put the two pieces together, and you can see how this orange peel is going to stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3 across, and 3 down. So that's the 4x4. Do 2 petals here, and then it'll go down and do the last row on the A file. Of course, you would use a thread that would complement your project. I'm just using red so it can be seen. I'm hoping that it's going to stop where it should stop to continue the design, and my machine doesn't move. Okay, so this is where it would stop, but you would have it in the same color, and you would just hit continue. So I'm just going to hit continue. I've married the two designs, so you can join the designs, the A and B files for the 4x4 and the 5x7. The 5x7 would end up being in a 9.5 by 14 hoop. The 4x4 you can do in an 8x8. So if you need a narrow design for something that you're doing, but you need it longer, then this 4x4 will work out really well for you. So it just picks up where it left off down here and started, and it'll come back up and go this way, and then it'll go that way. And if you have to continue, then you would continue with the same file, and it would start right down here at this point, down here. So this goes, you'll have the file available in all the sizes, from 4x4 to 10 5/8 by 16. All the squares, all the rectangles. And we got 2 more flowers to stitch out, and then we'll be finished. So stitching these 2 4x4 designs is 4 minutes. So it stitches quickly. And once again, you have the 4x4 that's narrow and the 5x7 that you could do. The 6x6, you could do two 6x6s in an 8x12 hoop. All right. So that is, let me back the camera up a little bit. There we go. That is the two 4x4. This was the, let's see. This was the first one because I did a rotation. So let me turn it this way. So it stitched this part, the 4 inches, 1, 2, 3 flowers, and then ended up down here. Let me see if I can figure this out. 1, 2, 3. It ended up here, and then the B file started here and went this way and finished here. So you would take the file and you would either use a template or your camera on your machine, if you have a camera, to line it up right here. All right, so I'm going to go back to the computer. All right, so I'm back at my machine, and I'm going to stitch this 6x10 C file, which has the larger flower that makes the, I call it a flower, that makes the orange peel design. So let's get started on this, and I hope this fabric will stay in place. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4 this way and 2 this way. So remember, the C files are all in purple, and they have the larger design that forms the orange peel. I call it a flower. So this takes approximately 3 minutes to stitch. And I'm stitching at 600 stitches per minute, I think. I'll have to look when this is finished. And I'm just stitching on cotton fabric. Actually, I don't even think it's cotton. I think this might be a sheet that I cut up. I don't usually do that. Let's see. No, this is cotton. I was desperate one day and I didn't have any plain white fabric, but I think this is the cotton. Now, years ago, I did embroider on sheets. Well, it was a combination of embroidery and applique. It was for something for my grandson years ago. He was a teenager, and now he's 29. He was an early teen. Alright, so this is one continuous stitch until it ends. And then if you wanted to make you know, to go further down, you would just reload your hoop. You know, say this was a quilt or a project that you've done and you wanted to go a little longer, you would just reload and move your quilt down and line it up at the ends, because it would be lined up down here. And there you go. Hang on just a second. And there we go. So this is the 6x10, I believe. Yes, it's a 6x10. All right, so I hope you enjoy using this, and would appreciate it if you would post a picture of whatever it is that you've used it on and let us know. Thanks so much. Enjoy.